Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Poison Assassin Teal build, Immortal Shell 2. This can give you insane amounts of damage against bosses, enemies, and everything in between. The thing is, we're going to be able to do a lot of damage because we can build up poison stacks with our weapon and our ranged weapon, and we can actually get a lot of stacks off of this because we have a multi-hit attack here, and then when we use our Shadow Strike, it's going to detonate all of those and do large amounts of damage. But we also have the spear here. We have our Shadow Clones that can distract enemies. There's a lot of really good things about this setup here. As you can see, we dodged away and that enemy got distracted by the Shadow Clone that we dropped down. So everything about Teal is busted. I actually think that this is the strongest build in the game because you can just do some silly stuff just like that. So for the skill tree, there's actually some interesting synergies here. Teal has the most synergies in his kit among all the shells in this game. He can actually be able to apply poison to himself with using the Shadow Clone tier 3 and then heal himself with the Plague Bearer. But early game, I would say the best choice is to build into your escalation here. This is going to give you additional damage on our Shadow Strike, which is really nice, but it's really about the poison stacks we get later on that we care about, because once we get to the second tier here, we get Poison Burst. This can be consistent damage throughout the entire game because we're able to apply poison with Shadow Strike 10 stacks, and if we do another Shadow Strike, we can detonate all those and then emit a poisonous cloud. This is really solid. If you don't like playing with poison, you don't have to do this because you can also use the Blood Curse axe and dagger setup, which I'll talk about in this video too. So you can skip the points into poison here if you're not going to use that, but we want to get this and also Death Mark. Now Fragile is a really good status once we get to level 3, which applies 10 fragile stacks. You can't put more than 10 fragile stacks on an enemy, but it makes them take bonus damage from weapon attacks, which is super powerful. Now you can also do this with a ranged weapon, so it's not fully necessary, but it can be really good because it's also going to give us increased critical hit chance and damage, so that is nice as well. After this, I would recommend grabbing Night Stride here as well because this will create a increased dodge window for our Shadow Dodge to be able to apply. Shadow Dodge Dash is our special ability, which we can also later make it create clones, which will distract enemies. Shadow Dash will apply stagger damage. Now stagger damage is different than break damage. What stagger damage does is it ends up knocking the enemy out of their attack animations. Break is when you get the posture break and you can do a riposte. So we can, with this, increase the stagger damage that we do with our Shadow Dash, which is very good because it can sometimes stagger an enemy and then you get a couple extra hits in, get your resolve back. It is super nice. After this, we do have, this is good for mobbing. You get resolve back when you kill an enemy with Shadow Strike and have a chance to re-enter it. For bosses, don't take it. It's not that good. But I would also recommend coming in and taking ambush. This is one of the best skills in the entire game. When striking enemies from behind, you deal 150% damage. That's a 50% boost. You get an increased critical hit chance and increased critical hit damage. Now, just 2 points into this is amazing because that increased crit chance is actually a very beneficial thing. There's a lot of bosses in this game, like the Monolith, for example, which you can actually dodge with your Shadow Clones. They turn around and face your Shadow Clones and you get free back shots. So it is really powerful. This does take us to the tier 4 here where things do get a little bit more powerful. Shadow Strike is kind of good, but we would rather go and take Critical Role. Great show, by the way. With this, after you do a Shadow Strike, the next melee attack is an automatic crit. Absurdly powerful. That's not all 3 of the tier 3s are really good, but once you get it maxed out, 100% increased damage on that critical hit, amazing. But we also have Shadow Clones. These are busted, and you only need to take 2 points, but you can go with a third here to create the Poisonous Cloud, because that can poison and give us some heals. So what this does is it's going to, whenever you do our special Shadow Dash there, create an enemy that lingers behind, and it's going to draw up to 5 attacks. It's actually a extremely powerful ability because it sets up your ambush, and then also with that, you can then go in and use your ability, which is going to apply Fragile stacks, which we get Death Mark maxed out, and then get a free critical hit with 100% increased damage. Absurd power level. It is really strong. So you can synergize with these all together. You can also then throw in additional points of escalation if you wanted to late in the game. The other option is to go with more points in a Night Stride. Getting damage on your Shadow Dash is really nice. It's only 50 damage, but that's still really good. And increasing the window for activation is amazing because that means we get Shadow Clones easier. But it is also good to go with the escalation to apply additional poison stacks. And Shadow Strike is mainly used to be able to dodge attacks. It's really good for that. We are just really good at not taking damage at all. So for the final points, you can put some into here. You can go and get the poison will restore your health. I didn't find it necessary to use, but you can go with the escalation there and this, or take the points out of that. I like to have the poison stacks because you can chain together multiple Shadow Strikes. Although 10 poison stacks is not really that much because you can use our ranged weapon and apply many more. You may want to go with Night Stride like this and end off with our skill tree looking like this. Now this Seal Affinity here is really good if you like to parry, but he has such a powerful dodge, and especially with Shadow Clone, it's a better option in my opinion. As for weapons, the Black Needle is a really solid spear that we can go with. However, we can also go with the Axe and Dagger because these two weapons are the only two poison weapons in the game. My preference is Axe and Dagger, and you'll see why in a moment. But for our sidearm, the Forgotten Crossbow is incredible because this is another weapon that can give us a poison infusion. This or the Repeater. Cage Hystrix, I should say. Cage Hystrix is a little bit later on in the game, but crossbow early game, long range. This is like a fast firing gun. They're both really good, but they will depend on getting poison off on the enemy, and I'd recommend either of these two, although you can go with the shotgun or the Trebuchet axe as well. They're very powerful. For the seal, it's your personal preference. I like the Tarnished seal, but Vatras and Infinite seal are also very good. Our support stones here. This is the most important one to grab. Headsman stone, 100% increased critical hit damage. That's great, really good. We do a lot of crits. We want them to be as strong as possible. Auspicious stone will give us an 18% critical hit chance as well, and that does stack with our ability to get crits from behind. Berserker stone is absurd. 50% health or lower will give us 160% melee damage. So all these ways to scale up our damage just become crazy. I also like to have the Marksman Stone. This will give us critical hit chance in a ranged weapon. There are some ranged weapons that require you to get a crit to be able to apply their statuses, so you could go with that. But yeah, I like these four here, and you can get the Bulwark Stone to be very damage resistant, which is really nice too. Now for our combat stones, if we're using the Axe and Dagger, Duality Stone is by far the absolute best. If you're using the Spear, use the Thief Stone. This will give you 3 warp stacks per strike, which means that you attack even faster every time you get attack off. It is really good, but it's hard to beat the Duality Stone because it makes your weapon attack twice, which is insanely powerful. For our ranged weapon, I'm using the Splitting Stone. The reason being is it's going to split our projectiles off, and those deal poison. So, very good. I'd recommend that. The Myriad Stone, similar, but more splitting. Harder to hit, though. I'd highly recommend just Splitting Stone. After this, we have our Infusion. So, you can use poison on your Axe and Dagger, but if I'm being honest, Blood Curse does massive damage when sufficient. It's really good. I would prefer to roll with Blood Curse. The higher damage potential is here, and then we're going to use our ranged weapon to apply poison. It is alright, though, if you want to use the Serpent Stone and use it on your weapon, but Blood Curse is just way better. And the Hag Stone is going to be the stone of choice for our ranged weapon. Also, you can use the Accursed Stone. This will make it so that you apply Curse on your weapon, which is really good because it nullifies the next attack, but we also kind of have that with our base kit. The only downside to using the Cage Hystrix here is you do have to get critical hits for this to apply poison. So your poison production is not going to be as high as if using the Forgotten Crossbow, but this will do higher damage. So it just depends between the two of these. The thing though with the Cage Hystrix is if you're going against multiple targets, what's great about it is that you can use this, and it has its Tarstone, the Strange Remnant. This gives you 6 shots that chain between multiple targets, so you can apply poison on multiple targets at a time if you're lucky to get crits, and with the stones you can get crits pretty decently. I like that setup, but it's not for everyone. So using the crossbow is more than fine because it is a more guaranteed option, as when you swap this, you'll see that our poison does not require those crits to apply it. So this does work a little bit easier. Burn's okay in certain circumstances where enemies can get staggered, mostly just small enemies that we don't worry about too much. But whenever we get to here, Magdalena's Memento is just insanely good. You get it early on in the game. It applies weak, which makes the target deal less damage. That is amazing because it makes us even tankier. And it says multiple attacks. It gives increased crit chance and damage. It's really good. For our weapons Tarstone, we have the Strange Remnant for the other with the Cage Hystrix. The Fusillade Stone will make it so that you shoot off every single projectile on the enemy. The reason we want this with the crossbow is you can dump your entire magazine into an enemy and then get a lot of poison off on them, do a couple attacks and even more poison if you have it on your weapon. But then once you have those crazy stacks on, you can just use your Shadow Strike once you get enough resolve. So if you want to do burst damage quick as possible, this would be the way to go throwing this on. And for our active items, the Mango is amazing, 50% health instantly, or 100 if you have it maxed out. I do have a guide on how to get the Mango, check pinned comment for more. And for the passive, throw on the Sheephead. If you want to cheese the game, throw on the Grisha Remnant, but yeah, it is really good until they end up nerfing it. So yeah, Sheephead Totem makes targets have less health. For another active item, if you don't have the Mango or don't want to grab it for the heal, Resolve from the Moonshine. This lets you do the Fusillade Stone and get Resolve back to be able to go in and do a Shadow Strike and then detonate all those poison stacks quickly. It's really good. Now the typical flow to combat, we like to use our crossbow as much as possible. The Fusillade Stone will end up just killing this altogether. You see we got 8 stacks of poison off on him, so you can apply poison really quickly with this, go into your Shadow Strike, and then boom, detonate them all, and it does a lot of damage. So that's really great, and then we also detonate and create a poisonous cloud here, which is great because then you're going to be able to apply poison stacks to enemies, and it expired unfortunately before that could work. But we got blood curse on our axe and dagger, so that obviously is really powerful because if you get a bleed proc, and you will easily with the duality stone, you can do some insane damage really quickly. I hate these enemies, but basically all you need to do is go in, get a bunch of poison stacks off on them, and then go in for your, we got our poison there, and then we go with Shadow Strike and detonate it, and it'll take down pretty much everything at that point. So that is the general flow to the fights here. We do have crazy damage against just everyone because Blood Curse is so good, but you want to use the dodging from this to be able to stay away from enemies. Really, the biggest benefit, though, is those shadow dodges. Being able to reposition yourself and get to the backside of enemies really quickly is nice. And then with that, you can also just it's just so easy to reposition, get your poison off, and then it's easy for getting crits. Now, ripostes are currently broken. They will be fixing it, but if you get a riposte, it's better to do charge heavy attacks than it is to go in and do the riposte till they fix it. But you've seen that right there. So basically, the strategy to using our Shadow Strike is whenever there's an attack that's going to like destroy us, like this here, use that because it gives you so many iframes just to avoid everything altogether. And for some of the more annoying attacks in the game, yeah, it's just a good way to dash in and hit the target and have iframes throughout the entire animation. Now, if you are using the axatana, it's great too because the Shrike Stone gives you this many iframes. I really like the Shrike Stone because of that, but it's entirely up to you if you want to use the axatana. You can also put stasis on, which will slow the enemy down. Here's a bit of a crazy play. I was about to go down as my skeleton here, was quick enough to get Tiel back and immediately go in for the Shadow Strike, which was enough to survive and make it out alive. So yeah, he can hard carry. He's just so powerful. And of course, there are other mitigation moves in the game, but Shrike Stone and Shadow Strike are among the two best in the entire game because it just lets you tank everything to the face. So yeah, that is the Poison Assassin Tiel. Again, you can swap out and use Poison the Blade, but Blood Curse will make you a true assassin because the damage is so much higher. And we have our crossbow, which can apply it really quickly. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll catch you all in the next one.